Hi. So, I I to people who watch my videos, you know how big King Puri is, or how big King Puri is a part of this channel. And the reason for that is because I never really talk about things that I don't feel passionately about, and it made that really clear here on my channel that that I really don't care about, which titles I think would fare well or whatever when it comes to dramas and stuff like that. I only review things that I feel very passionate about. And one thing that I never really skipped out on, and I think the thing that I've consistently talked about ever since, was my love for King Puri. And that's why last night's news was really confusing and was a lot to process. And if you're not familiar with it, so long story short, King Puri was supposed to announce today that members Hirano, Kishi, Yuta, and Jinguji, Yuta are leaving the group on the 22nd of May 2023, a day before their 5th anniversary as a unit. And at the same time, Sho and Jin are also going to leave Johnny's and Associates, their agency, and then Kishi will leave on a later date around autumn, leaving Ren and Kaito as a 2-member unit. Now, I remember what my feelings were when they announced that after a long hiatus because of his condition, Genki was going to leave the group. And I was really devastated at the time. It was a very, very intense and crazy feeling. But looking at the video that they posted, the members, when they announced that, a lot of people, like I saw comments from people saying that they seem a little bit too lighthearted in that video and stuff like that. And after that, like after the events of what happened, it made me realize that the reason for it is because it probably was a mutual decision, and that they maintained a good relationship with Genki after. I mean, we've seen it. There's a lot of like Niowase posting that happened in the recent F1 thing where King Puri was with Honda, and Genki was also in the same event. We saw that even if they're not within like the same company and together anymore as a unit, their bond is still there as 6. And that was probably the reason. But for this one, it was a lot painful to watch, because looking at the FC video, there's definitely a lot of like distance there, and I think it's partly because of it's such a huge thing. Like, it's not just another member leaving, it's 3 members leaving, especially since the group still hasn't hit their 5th anniversary, and it really is insane. And also, like, the reasons that they gave out, which was really bizarre, was Sho and Kishi saying they were getting, like, at their age, it was getting harder and harder to reach their goal, to reach international success, which was their personal goal and something they promised Johnny. Kishi saying that, aside from that factor, with his current capabilities, it's getting really, really challenging and stuff like that, which I don't understand, because personally I do think that he's one of the best vocalists in the Jimushos, like objectively, not just because I'm a fan of King Puri, but I honestly do think so. and that he also has really, really good dance skills as well. And I don't want to do comparisons, but he's definitely above average at most. And then for Jin to say that he made a decision in, like, if ever someone else was going to leave after Genki, he's also going to leave. And then finally there's Sho. Oh, you guys know that Sho is my Oshi. And he's always talked about King Puri in such high regard. And so it's kind of like interesting the way that that entire excuse was made, especially with the way that he always talks about the longevity, like believing in the longevity of the group and the relationship of the group with the fans. And I know, like, obviously, some people might say that it's hard to, like, you put your trust too much in these people that you don't know about and stuff like that. And I totally get that. But at the same time, I also can't help but think that there's just a huge disconnect. I mean, I understand if there were signs showing that they had intentions of slowing down, but the fact that their career is literally at the top of its game, and then this happens, for them to say that it's impossible for them to go international, especially at the rate that they're going with their FC numbers, with their collaborations, even with the messaging of the songs that they've been recently putting out. I mean, which talks about their goals of wanting to reach the top and not stopping there and not letting expectations stop them from being the things that they want to be. And then this happens. It's just... And every member just getting their acting careers on, like, solo roles, and not just solo roles, but roles that show their versatility as a group, that they have more to offer than just participating in these types of roles and stuff like that. It's just so hard to process that this is how it turned out. Like, it's not just a hiatus or anything. There's a sense of finality in there, a sense of dejection in the way that they were talking. Kaito specifically, you know, he was talking about how King Puri has fostered a lot of his multi-rounded talents, and that you can definitely feel that kind of burden of asking to help protect the name, even when it will be just him and Ren is going to remain in the group. It's just so hard to fathom that it was going to turn out this way, especially with how they celebrated their 4th anniversary. It was so big. And like, I don't know, like, let's say that the international thing is really the factor. It's just that I don't know what it is. And of course, like, there are a lot of speculations as to why. And I couldn't help but wonder that there's something that happens as well, because I do feel like, again, given King Puri's involvement in their releases and everything, and the way that, you know, everything is going and stuff like that, and the way that they keep on pushing a certain message to some extent about who they are as a group, and then for this to happen, there's just a huge disconnect. And I don't know, maybe it's just me being in denial as a fan, but it's just very, very, very challenging to process. And it's funny because the thing is, as much as I would want to distance myself from it, obviously, because it'll be hard to watch concerts and to watch even King Puri or their other things, especially knowing what's to come. I do think that I will still watch these things as they come and support them up until the point that I can, as a group, because obviously I will still watch out for what they do individually. They've been a huge part of my life the last 4 years, and I've talked about this before. Like, I don't stand any other group, and even if I stand other groups back when I was younger, the impact is very, very different because King Puri came at a time where I needed to have that, and they are a constant thing that I go back to whenever things get a little bit shaky. Discovering Hanahare, Cinderella Girl, and them as a group, and Hirano show, was the reason why I ended up talking about J-dramas here on my channel. And so, and just them, reading interviews, reading their words, reading things that they have to say about certain things, you know. And I guess, you know, other people who don't understand these types of dynamics can say that, you know, you put your trust too much in people that you don't know. These are people who have their own lives. These are people who make money off of making you feel better. And I totally understand that. But I also believe that they are people who also have personal things and personal circumstances that affect what they do. I refuse to believe that there's no sense of sincerity in the things that they've done. And it's not really more about them per se. It's what they made me feel in moments that I need to feel certain things. And that's the reason why I supported them. And that kind of support is also voluntarily given. And so I don't understand. I understand people feeling a sense of betrayal from the situation. What I don't understand is how easily it is that people turn their backs on the members during this time, especially after everything. Because again, as I mentioned, you know, they provide a certain form of entertainment, of music or whatever, but that blooms into another thing once you consume that, and it becomes yours, and your experience is yours. But that doesn't mean that they didn't contribute to it anymore and stuff. And I know that I probably am not making sense, but I also want to share that, and this is kind of like sound really crazy because obviously it's like validating my own feelings, but I just want to say that to fellow fans who feel this way, whether you're just a casual fan or someone who enjoys 1 or 2 songs from King Puri's discography, or you've been a fan longer than I have been. I've been a fan since 2018. I know that other people have been a fan since they were in their junior days, individually, some back when they were still not a unit. And just know that, you know, like, there's this community to go back to, and that these feelings that you're feeling right now, it's yours, it's valid. It's probably because of the friendships and the bonds that you've formed with other people because of this group. It's probably because their song or a song of theirs or a performance of theirs or whatever resonated with you, and that's fine. And ultimately, it's because of what you feel. It's not because you're I don't know, like there's just so many things to sort of like, it's so easy to like blame or just twist things or whatever like that. But at the end of the day, I guess for fans who feel the same way as I do, it's more of just, cope in the manner that you think is best for you. Because obviously you've invested time and effort, no matter how short or long you think that time is. You've invested something in believing in this group, in allowing them to be part of things that make you happy, that make you feel something. And so the way that you're going to cope in this situation is totally valid, in a way that, as long as it's not something that's hateful. Because again, turning this into something hateful just discredits the entire idea. And of course, you're entitled to be angry. And I know how confusing it is, because it's hard to direct your anger towards anyone, especially if you don't feel like directing it to the members. And I do think that they do not deserve it, especially given how things have went. Like, they're literally at the peak of their career. But all I'm saying is, if you're feeling angry at the moment and so confused as to where to direct that anger or anything like that, I just hope that it don't turn into something hateful, because this is something that you've enjoyed and that you allow yourself to enjoy, and this is something that's very personal to you, and that anger is valid, but just don't allow it to turn into something hateful. Not even just to the members, but to fellow fans who might feel this shorter, a little bit longer than you. So, just embrace your own coping. There's a community there that feels exactly the way that you do, or maybe not exactly the way you do, but who feels for you. And I hope that you find it, and whether you choose to stop supporting them at this particular moment because of how you feel about the situation, whether you decide to go back to it and stuff, or whether, if you're like me, who would just continue on watching them until that point of separation, and then watching over them once they go into their different paths. I hope that we all can go back to this moment one day, once we're fully healed, and listen to the songs that we loved from them. Songs that resonated with their own experiences. Watch shows that made us laugh or cry. Movies with them that really resonated with us and stuff like that. And we can heal enough to look back at those moments and find the same warmth and joy that we felt when we watched it back and they were still this solid group. Like, it's the same feeling as, I don't know, listening to Rokunin, Cinderella Girl, or listening to the Rokunin songs, or probably watching Bukatsu, which is the drama of Kaito, Genki, and Jin, even if Genki is left. And I know that the circumstances definitely have changed, but I hope that, there would come a time when, no matter what you do in this current situation, what you decide to do as a fan, I hope that one day we can all go back to their music, to their works, whatever, and reminisce it in a place coming from fondness, and remind us of what it made it feel, these things made us feel that particular moment, minus the pain that's being felt now. So yeah. Yeah. I'm not sure if this video even made sense at all. I'm not even gonna try to edit this because I feel like it would just be horrible. But yeah, yeah, I'm supposed to be filming my kurosagi review video for today, but it just feels so impossible to do that. So I don't know, maybe I'll try next week, but yeah, we'll see. That's it for today's video. Thanks so much for watching, and you know where to find me. Everything down in comments if you want to talk. So bye.